2021 is winding down, and that means EA has likely switched into full development mode for Madden 23. I personally think Madden 22 saw a lot of really nice improvements in its franchise mode, from weekly game planning, managing players' health week by week, and the coaching staff skill system. I think Madden 22 added a lot of meat and potatoes to the stew we call franchise mode, but I still think it's missing a few things. And you always want some more meat and potatoes in that stew, so let's get into it here. Number one, this is something I have been asking for, at least for the past 2 years. Player position terminology. So this will probably make it 3 years of me asking for this, but teams no longer use a lot of the outdated terms that we still see in Madden. Madden still sort of labels players as if it's like 2004. You know, you don't really see, defensive end, things like that used anymore. It's more now just interior defensive linemen. No more really outside linebackers. It's either you're just really a linebacker or you're an edge guy, edge rusher. I think this update would make things not only easier for casual players when building teams, because a lot of people just, I need an outside linebacker, so they go and sign an outside linebacker. That's not necessarily an edge rusher. It's an outside linebacker in a 4-3 scheme, and they try to plug them into a 3-4 where they're going to be more on the edge. So I think that's why you want to update this. I think it'll make things easier, less frustrating for players who maybe aren't as in the know. And also, I think this would update the AI for the CPU GMs in the mode. I think too often a lot of times you'll see 3-4 scheme teams sign a 4-3 outside linebacker who are more in coverage than edge rushers. So teams should never play Von Miller as an off-ball linebacker the way the CPU does in a 4-3. Once you get, really 2 to 3 years into a franchise, these teams sort of have these players all out of position, and it actually makes things a lot easier for the user when playing games because they're not really playing up to the scheme and the position that they should be. So you'll end up with guys that are just pure edge rushers being lined up over slot wide receivers and things like that, and that's just never very good. So I think just updating the positional terminology and just having the AI better understand what players should be in what packages as well. I think that'd be something that would be greatly beneficial to the game. So, I mean, this isn't even just a franchise thing, really. This is more just, I think, all-encompassing for the game. So I think that's number one, player position terminology. Number two, compensatory picks. Another thing that I've asked for the last 2 years, and I'll make it 3 now. Some people have asked, how exactly do comp picks work? Well, this is what I've read, at least, but teams are awarded compensatory draft picks between rounds 3 and 7 based upon a formula which the NFL has not released that takes into account a player's average salary per year, snap count, and postseason awards. So an example I give you, this is via overthecap.com. The Green Bay Packers All-Pro Corey Linsley left via free agency to go to the Los Angeles Chargers. Because of this, the Packers are expected to be compensated with a 4th-round draft pick. The Saints are going to get likely 2 extra 3rd-round picks coming the way for losing Trey Hendrickson and Terry Fontenot. I believe that's how you pronounce that name. He was a front office guy, our coach, I believe. I believe this is because of the expanded Rooney Rule. I don't know if that can be replicated in-game, but either way, this is something that should be in the game when you lose, your players. If you decide to, hey, you know what, I'm going to let this 27, 28-year-old guy who's still good, I'm going to let him go because it says here, if I let him go, I'm going to get a extra 3rd-round pick in the next upcoming draft, possibly. So I think things like that, having that sort of knowledge, I think would be really cool to add into the game. I think it's just another way to build your team. You could be someone who really doesn't care about compensatory picks, or you can be a franchise like the Packers, maybe like the Saints, who are a little more savvy, that sort of understand that it's not the worst thing in the world to lose these players because you're going to get a compensatory pick. And, now, before you couldn't trade these picks, now you can trade them. So it's another chip on your table to use, actually. So I would like to see that added into the game. Number 3 here, contract structuring. It leaves a lot to be desired right now. giving us the option to have front-loaded, balanced, or back-loaded contracts would be just another tool to really give us cap flexibility when constructing the teams. Another thing I like to see, and this is sort of still in number 3, I would like to see the ability to restructure these deals in the future. I think that'd be pretty nice, actually. You see a lot of teams that will, backload contracts, and then sort of when they need cap relief, they will then start to restructure those deals and sort of space that money out a little bit more over an extra year or two, thus sort of extending these deals, things like that. I would really like to see that put into the game. It's something that you see in the actual NFL, so I think I would like to see this in Madden 23. So yeah. Number 4, Revamped Sim Engine. Not many people ever touch on this when making these wish lists, but it's something that definitely should be talked about. And this doesn't even necessarily go for people who, sort of play every game in their franchise. Maybe this goes for people that like to just build the team and then sim. Right now, the Sim Engine really doesn't reward how good the team is built and really team overall, things like that. I know there's a lot more that goes into this sort of stuff, or goes into team success than just overall, but right now it's primarily based on what playbook you have selected. People have done countless studies on this. I say studies like this is like colleges doing this, but people have just done and given every team the same playbook, and they all put up beastly numbers. So clearly the playbooks have a lot of say and sway over the Sim Engine. Honestly, I think it's time for that to change. According to EA, Urban Meyer must have had the most fire playbook, because in every sim I've seen, the Jaguars are always really making super deep playoff runs. In the AFC Championship game, they're contending for Super Bowls. I'm not saying team overall should be the be-all, end-all, but it's very odd when you're sort of in week 14 and 15 of your franchise and you play a 12-1 team, and they're like a 79 overall, and you play them and they're just horrible. You just smash them in game. But because of the Sim Engine liking the playbook they have, they'll have a bunch of success. I think it's time to come up with a new formula for the Sim Engine. I think it's time to update that. It's been sort of the same for too long now. Number 5, playoff, draft, weather, and stadium presentation. A couple things in this one. Can we please have the Hunt and Hollis trophy presentations after winning the AFC and NFC championship games? Those are big moments for a lot of teams and franchises, and it's sort of just glossed over in Madden. I don't like that. I want to see teams celebrating winning the NFC championship game, the AFC championship game. For a lot of teams and players, those are also defining moments in their career, and it doesn't feel like that in Madden. It feels like you just won another game. These aren't other games. These are, next to the Super Bowl, the biggest games a lot of players will ever play in or ever win is the AFC NFC championship games. So I want to see that represented in Madden. Can we also get a few different Super Bowl celebrations? It would be nice to just add some nice immersion in the game. I would like to see a few different in there. Maybe, depending on sort of the players, maybe, if it's more a defensive team, I would like to see maybe the defensive players be front and center as opposed to maybe a mid quarterback. I think that'd be something really nice. It really would sort of showcase the team, who are the real leaders of the team. That's who you're going to see celebrating it after winning a Super Bowl. That's what you're going to see. So I'd like to see that in Madden. Maybe have the captains sort of be more front and center. That'd be pretty nice. Also, and this is going to get into the draft, can we see our first round player actually walk up on stage? Once again, just a little thing would be kind of a cool moment for I think people and the players that they draft, just to have that memory. So that's something I want to see. Now I'm going to get into weather here. Weather needs an update. Rain and snow look terrible. There should be 3 levels of rain and snow, light, medium, heavy. Right now it's just sort of one that looks kind of not good, if I'm going to be 100% honest with you. Also, each intensity should come with a different challenge for each one. I think if it's light rain, I don't think we should necessarily have to worry about it as much. I think we should see as much slipping, things like that. If it's medium, there should be some slipping, some drops, maybe some more slightly inaccurate passes as my phone goes off. I think heavy, when it's like super heavy rain, it should sort of be a slog, if you will. I think players should not cut as well. Players should be a little slower. I think the ball should slip out of the quarterback's hand a little bit more, maybe not as accurate with the passes. So I think that would be pretty nice to see. Also, as it gets later into the year, the lighting needs to change, actually, because like a 1 o'clock game on the East Coast, let's say Pittsburgh, New York, even central United States, but maybe like Green Bay, Chicago, those 1 and 3 o'clock games need to look a lot different than they look at, let's say, in December, January, than they do in September and October. That's something that I would like to see changed moving forward. Just better lighting in general as well. Another thing here that we're still on number 5. Why are things like salute to service and crucial catch programs that the NFL has represented in the game already? You see these sorts of campaigns done by other leagues, and they're represented in their respective games. It's just kind of odd that Madden, the biggest sports game in the United States, with the biggest league in the United States, also doesn't get this sort of treatment. Also, get the special patches that teams put on their jerseys for the season in the game already. The 49ers are celebrating their 75th anniversary as a franchise, and that jersey patch isn't in the game, yet it's pretty well represented when you watch. It's kind of hard to watch the 49ers play and not see that patch on the jerseys when watching the game. So that's something I want to see. Just sort of overall presentation, things like that should be in the game. Number 6, expansion. This might be a long shot to get into the game, but expansion would be a great addition along with the full created team suite. Being able to truly build a team from the ground up, I think would be a lot of fun and would add some longevity into the game. Right now, you saw it with my Steelers franchise, it's not too hard to really build your team up within 2 seasons and sort of, I don't want to say be a dominant force, but I would say be a dominant force. It's not that hard to do. But I think if you were coming from a situation where it's an expansion team, maybe add some things into there where players, free agents, sort of don't want to sign with an expansion team. There's no pedigree there, so it'll be harder to sign free agents, things like that. That's something that I would like to see in the game. I think that'd be really cool. Another thing, if this was added, I don't know if the NFL would allow this. I don't know if the NFL cares if it's this sort of stuff in the game or not. Some people say the NFL does. They sort of don't, but who knows. If they do add expansion, I would like to see the ability to realign conferences and divisions. Maybe you can bring back the old NFL Central Division back when Tampa Bay was in it. So I think that'd be really cool. I think the ability to sort of give the league a little bit of a facelift every now and then would be really cool. Maybe you do away with divisions entirely and you just have 2 conferences, things like that. I think that'd be really cool to see, and I think that'd be a really cool feature on its own, but definitely if you were to add expansion, I would like to be able to do that. Number 7 here, more coach skill tree options. I would like to see more archetypes for the coaches, especially if this is something that we're going to be doing here. I like to see more options for coaches. I think depending on sort of what style of coach they are, they have sort of vastly different archetypes and upgrades they can get. If you maybe hire a coach that runs more of an air raid scheme and things like that. Maybe you have a coach that runs more quarterback read options, things like that. Maybe there's upgrades that you can give that players will better block on those plays, those sorts of things that we see in Madden. So I think that'd be really cool to see added. Wouldn't mind seeing coaching tendencies as well. You just saw Brandon Staley go for it on like almost every 4th down, cost his team the game probably, but I would like to see that sort of aggressiveness by modern day coaches for certain coaches put into the game. I think that'd be really cool. There's coaches like Brandon Staley who love going for it, and then there's guys like Matt LaFleur who kind of don't go for that stuff as much. I think I'd like to see that in the game as well. I want to see some tendencies for these coaches. I think that'd be something that's really nice to add. I guess we'll add this one in as well since we're talking coaches. Coaching carousel tree, I'd like to see that added as well. I think that'd be pretty cool to see. It kind of happens, but it seems like the direction they're going, this is something that we're probably going to see in Madden 23. So let's hope it's in there. This is going to be my last one here. Number 8 is going to be playoff clinch and elimination scenarios need to be better defined in the game. Right now, I have to do a lot of guesswork. I'm mostly right on this, but still, a lot of guesswork has to be done by the user to sort of figure out who's going to be in, who's going to be out, what this team and this team have to do. You've heard me do it in these videos before when I'm going through the division standings, and sort of just me sort of like trying to sort of figure it out on my own. Like, all right, yeah, I think if this team and this team lose and if we win, I think we should clinch, but I'm not 100% sure because Madden doesn't tell us. I would like for the game to tell us. I don't know if it's possible for the game to tell us. I don't know if there's something with, you know, how that stuff's coded. I don't know if they can't tell us that, but it's something that I do want to see put into the game. Just better idea of what we have to do, what other teams have to do. There's no way that this shouldn't be in the game. So hopefully we see that put into the game in the future, because I think that'd be just a really nice quality of life thing for us to have. And that is going to be my list. We went longer than I thought it was going to go. I didn't think it would take me like 16 minutes to do this, but either way it did. So I want to thank you guys for watching this. Once again, I'm sure I'm missing a few things. So it's not exactly like EA is going to watch this video and go, oh, okay, we're going to put all this in the game. That's not how it works, but just a few things that I hope we see in Madden 23. If we can only get like 1 or 2 of these things in here, I think that'd be really nice for us. Just, I think they built really nice on Madden 22 franchise, and hopefully Madden 23 continues that. I know some people are a little worried because you know, they switched some of the dev team off to college football, so maybe we're not going to see too many upgrades. I hope that's not the case, but you never really know. But just hopefully Madden 23, I think, continues building upon the base that they built here in Madden 22 for franchise mode. So either way, I want to thank you guys for watching this video. Be sure to leave a like, be sure to hit subscribe, and tell me what you think of this list, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.